Welcome back, everyone, to episode 32 of Show and Tell. This is just my small adventure to highlight the creators and contributors to Magic Gathering community. Today, I'm super excited to be joined by streamer, thespian, and the cat daddy himself, HamHocks. HamHocks, thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. This is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I've been so stoked. Like, for those who have listened or may have listened or whatever, it's been a little bit since I've had an episode. I had kind of gone through one of those moments where I took a little step back. Life got a little busy. But it's been a little bit now, but this most recent MagicCon Vegas, I got to hang out with Ham as one of my favorite opportunities, and I get to see him, once a year or so. We finally got a game in. The running joke is I'm usually running around doing photos or this and that, and he's like, "Hey, you want to get a game right now?" And I'm like, "I do, but I'm trying to find this thing or do this thing."
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's been like 2 or 3 events where it's just been like, "Oh, let's get a game in sometime." Absolutely, sometime, absolutely. It actually happened. Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
I'm such a bad Magic player. I don't play Magic nearly as much as I should. But if you don't know Ham, like, let me tell you, the just level of awesomeness this man has is one of the reasons that I'm dragging this show out from, don't want to say retirement, but extended awayness, to be able to sit down and kind of have this conversation. So, I usually joke, the best place to start is at the beginning. So why don't you tell me what got you into playing Magic?
Yeah, so all of this, all absolutely just me being on the internet and everything involved right now, you can thank a buddy of mine that was a good friend of mine in high school named James. Shout out to my buddy James. He basically said, "Hey, nerd, shut up, get in the car. We're going to go get you a deck. You're going to love it." And I did. And so this was back when it was junior year of high school. So for me, that was 2003. Feel free to do the math. Yes, I'm pushing 40. Don't worry about it.
We're the same age, if it makes you feel any better. I was like,
I
know.
No,
That's
that's actually another fun thing I found out is that the number of like 30 and 40 something people just having fun, just shamelessly loving this game. It's so cool. Like when I got on the internet, I expected to be the old guy in the room, and a bunch of people like me were just like, "Oh, hey, you're here too. What's up?" Like, "Oh, hello." So it's pretty great. But in any event, so 2003, Scourge was the most recent set that was released at this time. And so the first deck that I ever got, they made pre-constructed 60-card like standard decks back in the day using cards from the newest set, similar to the role that like Commander Precons play now. Yeah. But they were just these little like 60-card decks that were clearly suboptimal. Like they were made to be upgraded aggressively.
Oh yeah.
And it all started, appropriately enough, with a Golgari Stompy deck called Max Attack was the name of that particular precon. And it was interesting because it used cards like Krosan Drover and Fierce Empath, which was recently in Foundations, and to this day is one of my favorite cards of all time, was in that first pack, and they were all about getting gigantic creatures onto the battlefield, either by making them cheaper or tutoring them up. It didn't come with a Craterhoof Behemoth because that didn't exist yet, but it did have... I'm trying to think of the big rare in it. Like, I think it had a Root Elemental, which was an old morph card that like could just be like a 6/5 for 6. It was not amazing, but it was we worked with what we had. And it was a ton of fun. And that deck had a couple of elements, and I remember realizing this deck would be a lot better if I took the black out of it and made it mono green. And looking back, I realized that was by design. Like they made the deck so that like the big black creature in it, that was the big benefit, was a card called Gluttonous Zombie, which is a pretty like it's not great. Like it's super forgettable. But the thing I remember is the deck had a ton of synergies that triggered when a creature with power or with converted mana cost 6 or higher, like when you cast it or when it entered, it would do things. And it had a mana cost of 5. And I remember realizing, oh, this doesn't fit the deck. And that was kind of an eye-opening moment. And looking back again, they clearly designed that to be a thing that new players saw and kind of realized what does this deck want? It had me asking that question of what is this deck trying to do? And I realized, oh, that's a bad fit for what this deck does. And kind of the rest is history, because from there, that's been the kind of thing I've been thinking about this whole time. Like, all the content that I make, it's all like, what cards should I put together to do a goofy thing? And like, what does this deck want? That's the question every time. And it's core to kind of how I interact with this game. And deck building was always the thing that I fell in love with. That was the element of the game that's always spoken to me. So yeah. I played for in the early 2000s, it was all kitchen table stuff. There was no like tournament play. It was all just goofing around at friends' houses, and we just kind of played with the cards we had.
Yeah.
So technically, it was like Legacy Ban List, but or Type 1 as it was known at the time.
Yeah.
But it was just we were just free run goofy. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's something novel about thinking back when your Magic deck was just we didn't, Commander EDH didn't, that wasn't even I say it didn't exist.
Nope.
I don't know the actual timeline of maybe there was the the beta version or the alpha, like the actual judges playing, Sheldon and those guys.
Right.
But a deck, you should have a deck, and it was just, well, here's enough cards I have to fill out a 60-card deck. Think I'm gonna go play, throw in my backpack, play at lunch or whatever at school or something, and it was
100%.
like,
Yep.
I always remember. I started playing a little earlier. I started playing in junior high, so I think 98, 99. And,
Oh wow.
yeah, and it was just I've told this story, I'm sure, but in my junior high there was 2 different lunch periods, and I think one year I ended up in the lunch period without all of my like main friends, so I had to start. I was forced to. It sounds good, guys. I was hanging out with this other group of friends who all played Magic, so that's when I kind of got into the game. And I can remember when I started out, I really wanted to make a black-green deck. But I didn't have enough green cards, so I made a black-blue deck just out of necessity, because that's
sure.
and it wasn't like today where if you want to, the internet was around, but it wasn't like as easily accessible as it is now. And if you wanted cards, like getting cards is either you get to a comic book shop and maybe you buy some packs. Maybe they had binders, or you rummage through the 10-cent drawers to find some needles in a haystack, or new tech, I guess it'd be called today, that stuff people had never seen before. So
yeah, and I remember those bulk bins at game stores, and the number of copies of Copy Artifact and Animate Dead that I didn't buy back then, and I'm like, what was I thinking? I knew those were going to be good, and I was like, no, I'll just buy like 2 or 3, it'll be fine. Looking back, it's like those were 50 cents or whatever, and now each of those cards is 15, 20 or more, and it's like, there was opportunity there. If only I'd known. But at the same time, how did I know that the game was going to be what it is and and persist this long, and that I'd still be into it at this point? You know? Yeah.
For sure. Even I remember in college there was a comic book store next to my campus, and they had fetch lands, like the original fetch lands. They were all like $5 to $8 each. But if they're not in standard or whatever, no one was really. There was no demand. Now it's like, I think at the moment I think fetches are relatively. In a decent place, they've kind of reprinted, but there was a kind of that period where, there was a secret lair where they printed a set, and it was okay, cool, but but I think they finally kind of caught on that, like, get them in some of these modern Horizon sets, get them in some of the Commander stuff to like make them a little more affordable for your player base, right?
Yeah, thank goodness too, because man, the calls from the community to reprint those. I mean, the idea of Scalding Tarn being like over $100, like.
Yeah.
What? Like that's that's nuts. So fortunately, we're not there anymore. Yeah, those reprints in Modern Horizons were excellent, definitely necessary.
And I keep waiting because I really like them, but the set wasn't that great. Was the Surveil lands? The Surveil lands are really freaking cool, and I always feel good when I craft them, or I buy one for a deck, and they're they're not cheap, but they're not I think 10, 15, 12, $10, $12, $15 or so, but
right.
When are we going to see those again? Is the next kind of thing,
Ooh, yeah. That's the other thing I find really funny. You mentioned that Murders at Karlov Manor wasn't that great, and that seems to be the general consensus. And there are a lot of real bangers in that set. Like Aftermath Analyst was in there, Vein Ripper was in there.
Yeah.
I feel like that set gets maligned as being a bad set because the flavor just felt off to a lot of folks. It's like, why is the murder mystery happening in Ravnica?
Yes. I'll amend my statement that I think the set actually has a lot of hidden gems in there, and essentially. So we'll get into it a little more, but do you
want to buy a box of it? That's like, and the answer to that being no is fair.
Exactly right. Yeah, I think Aether Drift kind of has the same sort of thing to it. I think the race theme necessarily wasn't super well received per se, but I think there's some pretty interesting cards in there that if you really kind of drill down, you find some fun stuff. But
absolutely.
But yeah, I think you're right that the Murders does kind of get a bad rep because the theme was. It should have been a New Capenna. It should have been a New Capenna set. I know they were trying to
Done.
That alone would have probably helped a little bit from a Vorthosy lore standpoint. But like the fedoras on your Ravnican people was kind of like, what are we doing here?
Why is this? And yeah, the notion of like the one element that I hear a lot of talk about is like, why is everybody in Ravnica all of a sudden a detective, and why are they wearing the hats? And that's fair, but also, why does murder matter in a world that has a literal death circus that goes off like every night? Like hundreds of murders happen every day in Ravnica, and we don't make a big deal about those. So why is everyone a detective, and why is this process in place? It didn't seem like a good fit on so many crazy levels. Yeah.
That is funny. People get killed all the time. They just
people get killed every night, and the Cranarium's nuts. Like, why are we not? Anyway, whatever.
You got me thinking about Scourge. That was Was that the creature only set? Was that Scourge, or was that?
That was Legions, the one that came before. Same block though. Yes,
that's right. Okay.
Yeah, every single non-land card in the entire set was a creature. It was so cool.
I remember that was. I was on one of my breaks, one of my Magic breaks, when that block was kind of happening. But I remember seeing that set happen, and like the thing about like it's all creatures. I was like, oh, that's an interesting way to approach a set design. Yeah.
Well, and one of the interesting things about actually, it's kind of appropriate talking about these two sets. Murders of Karlov Manor brought Disguise and Cloak, which was a reskin of Morph, which was that classic set that classic mechanic that had been introduced in Onslaught. And I have a playset of Dream Chisels and Isidore Reality Sculptor, and Dermoplasm. Like, I was playing Morph back in the day. It was like, I loved Morph. It was terrible, and to this day, I'm a firm defender of Scornful Egotist, which is a 1/1 for 8 that morphs up for 1. You pay 4 and you get a 1/1. It is one of the most context-dependent cards that has ever been printed. It is incredibly dumb. No, it's not good, but I defend it because in its environment, where you have cards like Accelerated Mutation and Rush of Knowledge, being able to cheat out an 8-drop onto the battlefield supercharged those cards. So from a limited perspective, it did actually make sense, even though out of context, you're just like, what the heck is this? Why did they print that? So I loved Morph back in the day. But I think bringing another part of the reason that Murders of Karlov Manor is not as beloved as some of the other sets we've seen recently is because Morph is bad. And Disguise, even as an upgraded Morph, is bad. And additionally, the way that they upgraded it is to make the face-down creature have properties, which means that if a face-down creature is face-down with Ward, the pool of cards that it can come from is significantly smaller than if it doesn't. And so that is actually giving the opponent information, which completely undermines the whole idea of you don't know what this thing is. So I feel like they kind of missed the mark on almost every level, and I really, as much as I loved Morph back in the day, Magic is just too fast for it now, so unless the face-down creature only costs 1 to put onto the battlefield, and we've reached a point where a face-down colorless 2/2 for 1, is that even that much to ask anymore? That sounds crazy to say, but like, we've reached a point where like that's the power level it would have to be if it's going to be competitively relevant. I'm not saying that, I'm not hoping they do that, but at the same time, like paying 3 mana for a vanilla face-down creature, or even a face-down creature with Ward, is just far too expensive a cost to make the flip up worth it. Pretty much at all, and I think we see that. Like there are cards in Murders of Karlov Manor that care about face-down creatures and like buff them and do crazy things with them. Like if you showed me Yaris, the Gruul like commander centaur guy, who can like flip things face, or like if a face-down creature dies, it comes back face down and flips face up and triggers. Like that thing's insane. If you showed, 19-year-old me that card, I'd lose my mind. Like this is, I can't believe they printed this, and it's this bulk rare that nobody cares about from a set that most people dislike. And it's like, hold up, really? Like we've come a long way, and I at the end of the day, I think the face down thing, it was probably never great, and it's even worse today, and that's a shame. Yeah, I'm nostalgic, but it doesn't. That nostalgia doesn't look good.
Yeah, they like the face down stuff, right? Because we got Cloak, and then we immediately are Disguised. Then we got Manifest Dread, like the 2.
I like Manifest Dread. Yeah,
interesting, but it's like they keep kind of like pushing that Yeah, I guess this would happen in the design space, right? Like you kind of poke corners and you kind of see how far you can push stuff and see what works and what doesn't, and it's interesting way to kind of work on a set design.
100%. Well, and it's funny because Manifest Dread, I think the thing is the face down creature that you get is an added benefit to another effect. It's icing on something that you already had that was otherwise providing value. Whereas with playing face down, like playing cloak creatures, you're paying a ton of mana just to get the face down thing. The face down creature is the event, and it's just not enough value to be the only thing the card is doing. Yeah. I think that's the thing. Manifest Dread also fills your graveyard, which is great. So
yes.
I'm all for that. Yeah.
You are very big on graveyard shenanigans. I noticed as watching you. One of my favorite decks of yours is your Insidious Roots token, whatever kind of thing, and when that kind of gets going.
I have a couple variants of Insidious Roots, and that's one of the things. As an Insidious Roots player, there are certain things like when Pinnacle Starcage got spoiled, everybody's like, "Oh, Temporary Lockdown's not leaving," and I'm over here looking at that, realizing that doesn't hit enchantments. No, we're good. Like that is absolutely not like the same thing. We're fine, y'all. Yeah, it's fun.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, so as we kind of alluded to, you started playing Magic, which you're also a streamer. So you stream, I think, Monday through Friday on Twitch. Long sessions, like, so, I usually catch you in the morning when I'm working. What inspired you to kind of take your love for Magic from just playing to becoming a streamer? Because streaming, a lot of people think streaming is simply a matter of you get a camera, you get Streamlabs where you hit go live and you go to town, but it's a lot.
And then you make $1
work
million, right?
Yeah, you make $1 million.
You just go live and like millions of people show up and you just make all the money, and that's about how it went. No. Yeah. But you're right. I think a lot of people think it's relatively simple, and it's not. Like, anybody can try it. And if you're interested and curious about it, definitely give it a try. But I had actually taken a pretty long break from Magic as I was just living life and trying to find, trying to figure out professional stuff and just so I was away from Magic for about 10 years. And I actually got a job surrounded by a couple of other people who actively played. Like, it was this tiny little company, like of 7 people, and 3 of them played Magic. And it was just like, oh, wait a minute. And so I kind of got into those conversations, like, oh, I remember that game. I used to play. Like, my parents still have all the cards back home. I could probably, And before I knew it, we were playing Commander in the conference room on Thursday afternoons, and it was because at that point, like, Modern had happened, like, had been created since I wasn't paying attention, and like Commander as a format, or as like a publicly known format, as you mentioned earlier, I'm not exactly sure the timeline either on when people started playing it, but in like 2016 or whatever, I think it was the first. Was it 2016, 2013? It was something like that. It was in the 2010s when it became a public format, and I wasn't around for that. Like, that was during my sizable break, and so I'm hanging out with folks I'm working with, and we're talking about Magic, and a couple of them were also content creators and invested in Twitch. And so it's funny, working for that company, I won't name them, but it was my first like sales job, and it was for a product that, if I'm honest, I didn't really believe in. Yeah. So it was a living. I don't begrudge, it was a job, but the people that I met there and the direction that kind of took me was really formative. Yeah. And getting me back into Magic was really clutch, because I realized, like, wait a minute, I didn't get too old for this game. I wasn't too cool for this game. I didn't grow out of it. I just forgot about it. Yeah. And getting back into it and getting to play again, I realized, like, oh no, this is awesome. And realizing what Commander was, and like there's now a format that has kind of codified, and where the vibe and the board game experience is the entire point. I was really delighted about that, because I was playing like multiplayer 60 card nonsense games with my buddies back in the day. Yeah. And so now it's like Commander is that for everyone, because so many of Magic players just needed a cohesive, consistent language that we could all agree on. And I think Commander's lovely for that. So and so realizing that this was all a thing, I just absolutely fell in love with it. And there was about a year where I had this thought of, like, I should probably try streaming on Twitch. Like that might be fun, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe, I don't know, but I didn't know anything about it. Like I literally didn't even watch streams. Like I was not on Twitch at all. I knew it was a thing, but I was absolutely one of those guys that was like, really? They just watch you play video games? What are these kids up to these days? And I was totally that guy. And so I did end up creating a Twitch account just out of curiosity more than anything, and realized like these folks are having a lot of fun with this. This actually looks interesting. Yeah. And so I lurked in a lot of streams in those early days. So I was lurking in Newmont or Crokies, or there are a couple folks like Talia Vess and Nerdy Steve and Chuck Beardo and some of these folks who so I was just kind of like hanging out in those streams and trying to get an idea, and I wasn't really chatting. I was really just lurking because I felt like it was the idea of being able to type a message and get a response from the video I was watching. Like that was still like a crazy idea to me.
Yeah.
And and it was in January of 2020 that I pressed go live for the first time. And the thing about it was when I was up, it was at a time when I was working a day job. And I actually started my streams at 5:30 in the morning. It was literally before I went to work. And so I would log in super early in the morning, and I would do an hour. And the way that I had to work it into my daily schedule. And so actually the way my streams started, I've been thinking about getting back into this to some extent. But the way my stream started, I would stream for an hour. And I would keep track as I went of all of the mistakes I made, like all the punts I had, and all the losses that I had. And then at the end of the stream, whatever those numbers were would actually dictate a workout that I did. So I did my morning workout on stream and the number of reps. So if it's push-up day, like I hope I don't make too many mistakes because a punt was worth 10 and a loss was worth 5. And so there were plenty of days where I had really bad luck, and it's like, well, I guess I'm going to try to knock out 50 push-ups, guys. Let's have fun with this. Like yeah. And my excuse, kind of my tagline there was, I'm either going to get good at Magic or get ripped. And I'm still not good at Magic, but I gave up on the workout thing because doing that for a 9-hour stream or whatever would be a nightmare. But I've been thinking about bringing something like that back in. But it was a way to integrate it into my daily routine.
Yeah.
And the thing about it was, I fell in love with doing it before anybody showed up. Like talking through my plays. The one thing that I recognized is trying to make sure there wasn't dead air, which is something that I always tried to do from jump. And I used those first few weeks before anybody showed up and those dead chats as practice. That was the way that I thought about it. Like, this is practice for if I want to do this.
Yeah,
and
makes sense.
because I need to make sure there's a conversation happening, even if nobody's here. And so I thought of myself as kind of a commentator of this game that I was actively playing. And so I was talking through, it's like, well, okay, I can play the tap land here, which is going to allow me to drop my 3-drop next turn, but I'm going to miss out on this thing here. And being able to walk through that. And I found that not only did I enjoy keeping the banter going, as you can tell, but also my understanding of the game kicked up, because I found myself, there was somebody in chat asking, yo, why'd you do that? Before anyone was actually in chat asking, wait, why'd you do that? Yeah. And so I learned pretty quickly that if I was going to make a decision, I had to be able to justify it. And if I couldn't, then that's a learning opportunity. And so I feel like I've gotten better as a deck builder and better as a Magic player as a result of broadcasting the gameplay. Yeah.
No, that's, I mean, I think that's a very, that's, I think a skill or a talent that people do not realize when they think about streaming or consider streaming is the dead air and the being able to essentially talk to yourself, right? Mm-hmm. You have chat sometimes. Like I always joke, I'm not a streamer. I tried it a little bit during lockdown, during the COVID stuff. I was streaming a little bit of Magic. I found myself just getting locked into gameplay, and not that anyone was, no one was watching my stream first. So that, but even then, if there was one or two times someone would pop in, I wouldn't even realize. Like, I remember I played once and I was playing some deck, and someone had asked a question, and it was like 20 minutes later, I was like, oh, someone actually says in chat. Like, that's never happened before. But I didn't realize. And then I remember I tried it's funny talking about integrating streaming with workouts, because I was streaming Final Fantasy VI for a while, but I had my exercise bike. I was playing while on an exercise bike.
Nice. Yeah.
We were trying all sorts of stuff during lockdown. I was going a little
That's
stir
very
crazy.
True.
But it's mad respect for people who I couldn't do it. And I think one of the reasons I do enjoy your stream so much is your articulation of your thought process. The way you you do go very in depth on how plays that you make, plays that you made that maybe were incorrect in retrospect, or just a play that didn't work out. Like, yeah, you know what, I did it this way, hoping that X, Y, and Z would happen. Giving yourself the best chance to kind of dig yourself out of a hole, or this or that. And that's that's a talent, that's a skill. That's you have to work at. I mean, some people obviously are naturally good at it, but like I think a lot of people you have to kind of practice that to get to a point where you can, because Magic is a relatively it's a can be a skill intensive game. So not only like playing the game, being aware of like making correct moves, but also kind of articulating that to chat. Like that's not it's tapping your head and rubbing your stomach kind of thing sometimes. So it's very it can be a big sort of process to work through. So
well, and I'm sorry. I find it really funny that you comment that you're just not a streamer because you tried it, and I'm the exact opposite. Like I when I make like canned videos, it feels like pulling teeth. It feels like it's so much work, and I just don't love the process. But being live, being off the cuff, being responsible for my thoughts and my statements immediately, there's something about that I find really like comfortable. Not even necessarily like exhilarating, but I definitely do. I don't know. I feel energized, and that's my comfort zone. Yeah. Like I know I'd probably be like better off financially if I spent more time on my YouTube and less time on Twitch. But Twitch is the fun part, so that's where I'm at for me. And I know it's just different strokes, But that's the process I enjoy.
Yeah. I do like playing on other people's streams because it's like there's not the pressure. There's not 100% pressure on you.
Right.
I do think I'm a good stream guest. I've been on quite a few streams, and I do think people enjoy my presence. But yeah, it's
100%
full on like steering the shit. Like you're the captain, you're the first mate, you're the gunner, you're the engineer, you're everything. And so like it's a lot. It's a lot. And I think you see that a lot with. I mean, you talk about Crokies. I used to watch Crokies all the time too. He's very funny. He's Scottish, so I like him. My family's from Scotland, so I appreciate the accent. But like,
I'm very jealous of the accent. Yeah.
Yeah, but like he's funny, but he's always talking about plays and like and he's got when he streams, he's got a pretty big viewer base, right? And he's always kind of going picking through chat. People are suggesting things, and he's like, oh, that's a good idea, that's a bad idea, and he kind of goes through, and you can see like the streamers who are kind of really into that. I mean, you can see that polish when someone's been doing it for a while. So, that's I think that's a talent. Obviously, you've kind of got into, and it's and again the fact that you were like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. You got inspired by getting these reps, and when no one was in there, like I don't think people ever think about streaming to nobody as an opportunity to get better. I think a lot of times people get discouraged when they start streaming because it's like you'll have like a 5 or 6 hour stream, and like maybe they'll have one person pop in, not say anything, and then that was that. But the whole time they were just kind of like playing the game. So
and the other move that I highly recommend for folks that I still employ to this day is I don't have my viewer count visible while I'm live. I don't at all.
Smart.
And I don't want to know. Like genuinely, I will see the numbers later. I'll figure it out. Like because I need to know what's working, what's not. But I'll worry about that later. When I'm in the moment, my goal, because if there were 1,000 people there, or if there's one, I want to put up the best show for them. And if there is 0, that could change to 1 at a moment's notice. And if there isn't something fun to watch when that 1 shows up, they're gonna leave. You know? So that's always my goal, is to make sure no matter what, I'm putting on the best show I possibly can. At least that's my goal. Whether I'm successful or not, feel free to debate about that in the comments. But that's the intent. Yeah,
I would say so. Hang on, I make some noise. My
thanks.
Stand is doing some stuff.
Oh no,
there we go. But yeah, I mean, and even outside just streaming, right? You have Tuesday, you have Brews Day, which is a kind of fun little thing. I know you've stepped it back a little bit, but Fight Me Friday, I always thought was a very, again, and this is the kind of stuff I think you pick up as a streamer, and you pick up as ways that it's a very good way to this is gonna sound bad, farm engagement. I don't say farm engagement. I say that kind of jokingly, but it's a good way to like get people involved in your stream in a way that's like a little more unique, right? Like oh, I watched the streamer all week. On Fridays, I get a chance to like choose a format and just play a deck with them. Like that's really fun. That's really cool. I I'm sure
Yeah.
other streams may do something like that, but at the top of my head, I can't think of any other streams I've seen that do anything similar to that. So like to me, that's like, oh, that's a very unique way to engage with your followers because to kind of if you want to talk about like the nitty gritty of like building a following, that's how you kind of get retention with people because like you build that relationship with them in a way that like they might not get if they're just sitting there like watching you play decks all week and I'm gonna play historic all week and just not do anything else, right? So was that something that like you had always thought about when you started streaming? Like I had these kind of ideas, or did they kind of come to you? I'm always interested, like sometimes when those sort of things kind of pop in, those ideas, or it was like an inspiration behind those kind of.
Yeah. I can't really claim credit on any of that stuff, if I'm completely honest. It was people giving suggestions is really what it came down to. Like
Okay.
the community just like let me know what they were interested in, and at a point like I'm not confident. I mean, actually, at conventions, like Power Dragon, who's another creator, great dude. He has this statement whenever anyone asks for his autograph. His line is, "I'm not big enough to say no," which I think is kind of fun, and it's a humble, kind of disarming statement. You could argue whether that's actually true in his case or not, but regardless, but that idea of like, well, if I'm a creator and my objective, my goal is to keep you engaged, I need to be giving you value in order for you to be here, and you're telling me what you find valuable. Like, it would be silly for me not to at least listen. And when I was first getting started, when I was streaming to 2 people, 3 people. I did, I was able to gather, get a consistent viewership of, a couple of guys fairly quickly. And I was very fortunate in that regard. And yeah, they let me know what they were interested in and what they were curious about. And one of the things that was expressed was, I asked one day about like, so what should I do about channel points? Like, what kind of things should I put on channel points? And one person said, like, what about viewer battles? Like, can't we challenge you? I was like, oh, okay. And I don't remember exactly who suggested it, but it was a channel point for a long time. And I found that it as a channel point became pretty much all I did all day. Because I would stream long enough that people could farm enough channel points that there were some folks who were able to actually challenge me literally every single day. And
wow.
It was a great problem to have have people who wanted to be plugged in that much. It was awesome, but I had to throttle it back, and that's where like I had to reformat it, and that's where Fight Me Friday came from. And I've been doing Fight Me Friday, which is a whole day of stream where I just take viewer battles all day. We just open up a queue and just line them up and we go. And in the last couple of weeks, I've noticed engagement on that has kind of trailed off a little bit, and so instead of it being weekly, maybe throttle it back to like monthly or bi-weekly or something like that. I'm still trying to feel out what the best fit is for the current interest in it.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I'm ever going to fully take that away in one form or another, whether it's a scheduled event or whether it's some kind of like community funded channel point goal or something. Like, I don't know, like, or, a subathon benefit or some, I don't know, but streamers out there, people want to play with you. That was very clearly a thing, and it was a fun. That has been a very important part of kind of what I've been doing, which is why I'm hesitant to let it go. Even though like the last like 3 or 4 have been, engagement was really really low, viewership was low, and the queue actually, like I almost actually like cleared the queue before it was closed recently, and that hasn't happened in well over a year. And so that was kind of a feel of just like, okay, people are definitely simmering to this, or maybe the energy I'm bringing to it isn't as exciting or fun as it used to be. And so maybe time for a change. But when it comes to Tuesday Brews Day, so on Tuesdays, I actually play viewer submitted decks, and curating that is a challenge, but actually Duo Cat, one of my mods, and a friend of mine, just actually was just sort of insisted. I would argue pestered. Actually, I would let them know that I would say pestered. So I think that's fair. They kind of pestered me for a while about this application, this third-party application called the Brew Queue. And it is a separate application that has its own kind of like a baked-in currency that you can get by spending channel points on a stream, and you can then use those points to submit decks or vote on what decks gets played next. And so if you're around for a while, or if you're willing to spend bits or whatever, you can, you can vote on your deck. And every now and then I'll, like, while I'm playing viewer decks and as I'm going through the queue, I'll occasionally knowingly, like, take a bathroom break and just without the next deck highlighted so that people can like vote and like have a little battle over the top. It's fun.
Yeah.
And so the queue becomes kind of its own character on the stream, you know, as to what deck are we playing next. And it's been a fun experience. And yeah, that was just my friend Duo just being like, by the way, this is a thing, you should really look into this. And those have been wildly successful streams that people have really been enjoying. And we've been at it for, I don't know. Yeah, we've been doing that for I think a couple years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, you know, for a lot of people, well, two things. I mean, you know, the Fight Me Friday, it's middle of summer. Maybe people are on vacation. I could imagine.
That could be a part of it, too. Yeah.
A lot of stuff is slow, right? The viewer submitted decks, I know it's always a very popular thing, I think, for streamers. Like, if you have, like, an inkling of idea, for me, I am not a deck builder. I will first admit, be it historic or Brawl or Commander, I'm always like, let me go on Mox Filler, let me find, you know, Goldfish. So I could imagine if like someone had the inkling of a deck and maybe they're not, maybe deck building is their thing, like, you know, because a lot of times you'll go through, you'll kind of look at the mana bases, you'll like, hey, do you mind if I switch some stuff here if this is not working, you know. I think it's a good way for people who like have a idea but not where to go with it, to kind of give someone who, because again, I don't think people realize like how good a lot of streamers are at Magic, because you play so much of it. Like you play
so much of it.
You probably today played more Magic just in today's stream than I have in person all in the probably like a year and a half, 2 years. I'd probably guess, right?
It's possible. Yeah, the stream was almost 6 hours, so that was probably, when you factor out the just soapboxing banter, it was probably about 5 hours. And I also filmed a YouTube video today that I'm debating on whether or not to edit it or go for another take afterwards. So that was another like 2 hours of gameplay on top of that. So like today I played 7 hours of Magic the Gathering Arena. And if it wasn't so late in the night, I don't know that I would be done. I play 6 to 9 hours of Magic almost every day. It's kind of wild. Yeah.
I'll play on my lunch sometimes.
Right.
And like I may be, depending, I play Brawl, and I have one historic deck I play that's like it's like a historic, it's like a Wizards. It uses what's that stupid wizard? I don't like alchemy, but they alchemize this card. It's one blue, it's a 0/3, but if you cast a non-creature spell, it's a creature's base power and toughness becomes 3/3.
Oh, that thing. Yeah. Oh, that thing is so nuts. Yeah, the Symmetry Sage?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's based like that, and like the oh my gosh, I'm gonna sound so dumb because I can't remember the names of anything. The monk,
Dreadhorde Arcanist?
No, it's similar. It's very similar to that deck, but I have a little bit of it's like my own version of it. The 1/2 monk that has prowess, Monastery Swift Spear,
yeah,
uses that. Uses
nice.
Storm Chaser Mages, which is just blue-red. It's a 1/3 with flying and prowess, and it's a blue-red. It's basically, gosh, there was some MTG Goldfish deck that Saffron Olive played like, God, it would have been like, this is going to make me feel really old now, probably like 5 years ago. It was like a modern deck, and he like 5-0'd on MT Moto, and like I basically built it in Arena finally because they brought the Storm Chaser over. And it uses that, and I use like Claim the Firstborns with a card that you can sack a creature and does 3 damage like a bolt, so I can still creature, but it's very low to the ground. It's like nothing costs more than 3 mana. So like I can play like maybe, depending on how my day is going, like 10 to 12 games of that, but that's still only, of course, an hour, right? You played 7 hours today. You probably got 4 or 5 times that amount in just from one day. So like
something like that, yeah.
It's just wild the amount. Like you see sometimes when people, like when a streamer goes on like a show. I'm a big fan of Amy the Amazonian. I think
that's the same. Yeah,
big fan of her Brawl. I'm like thrilled that she's like really been to Brawl. As someone who's like always been into Brawl, like seeing her really just take kind of like the horns with Brawl and being like the go-to Brawl streamer. But she goes on Shuffle Up and Play, and like it's like I think people sometimes are surprised like she's really good at Magic. It's like, well, yeah, she plays a ton of Magic. It's just I don't think people realize how good people are. But yeah, so like I said, I'm a big fan of the stream. I'm a big fan of like your thought process and watching you build decks. You do build very interesting builds. I like
try. Yeah.
Anytime you do graveyard shenanigans, I'm also very very happy. The Smuggler's Surprise, I think, has been a really fun card. I like watching you play.
It's great. I love it.
So
They're giving us so many new ways to cheat stuff onto the battlefield.
Yeah.
And so the opportunities to really like lean into that has been a ton of fun. It's also I have so like I have very weird taste when it comes to that stuff. Like I love Smuggler's Surprise. I think it's a blast. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Just shut up and take my money. I'm gonna play that all the time forever. I think Kona Rescue Beastie is incredibly overrated, and y'all need to stop it. I say that as somebody who got absolutely bodied by it just earlier today, because I understand the planet lands make that significantly easier to pull off.
Station.
And so you can tap out on 4, drop Kona, and then tap it to station.
Yeah.
And so like all of a sudden it's significantly more consistent than it's ever been, but it's still a 4-drop that dies to a ton of removal.
Yeah.
The 3 toughness. If it was a 4/4, completely different story, and I'd have 5 decks with it. But anyway, so I'm weird like that. Meanwhile, the Seed Ship from Edge of Eternities also has me intrigued. It's this 3-drop that if it attacks, you get to cheese stuff in, but it has you have to accrue for 7. Like it's a very weird design. But you can play it on turn 2 after Llanowar Elves. So I'm gonna try it. So
I'm gonna try. I gotta try it.
I gotta try it. And to Nook Steadfast Second, they made that for me, like straight up. That's my card. I still haven't made it work. I had like 6 decks in the early access event. All of them were really bad, but I want to find a way. Dang it, because they turned Perforos Bronze-Blooded into a Kavu, and in the years when I was first getting started streaming, one of the big decks that got a couple of like clips and had a few viral moments that really like helped kind of solidify me as like, and really like inject my love for like this thing. Like there were a couple of times where I had moments where people in chat were like, "Wait, how did you do that?" Like that happened for the very first time with a deck using Perforos Bronze-Blooded, which is the Theros god from Theros Beyond Death, the red one. It's most people, Perforos. It's the bad one. That's the one that I was using. It's a 5-drop that's only a creature if your devotion to red is 5, but it has this ability for 3. It's basically sneak attack for a red creature or artifact creature. You can pay 3 and cheese something onto the battlefield. And I was using it and Fires of Invention and Ilharg the Razeboar. And so I would go from I would be, there's something about being looking into the microphone, looking at your hand, having 4 lands on the battlefield and like a Fires of Invention down, and being able to say confidently with no creatures on the battlefield, if I tap deck a mountain, I win this game. And like I had a couple of people be like, what are you talking about? How is that possible? And it's like, well, if I hit a mountain, I now have 5 lands. I can free cast Perforos Bronze-Blooded. All my lands are still untapped. Free cast Ilharg, spend 3 to cheese in another creature, full attack. Ilharg cheats in the Terrabount Velis. I do like 30 damage that has double strike out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And that kind of sneak attack explosion of value was something that I think a lot of people weren't seeing at that time. And so, like, when I found that line, that was just, I perfected every different version of that deck I possibly could. And to the point where right now I have 1 Pioneer deck on Arena. It is an Izzet version of that is using a lot of the newer pieces. Because I love it so much. And to Nook, the new Kavu is templated almost exactly like, well, it's different in a lot of ways, but it's very similar to Perforos Bronze-Blooded. And I just like, I'm not going to not do this. I haven't figured out quite how to make it work yet, but there's a will and there's a way. So stay tuned. Yeah.
So what you're saying is you're just a big fat cheaty face. You just want to cheat in
I love
as
it.
much.
Oh yeah, no. My favorite is like, wait, that thing has like 2 colors that aren't in your mana base. How are you casting that? I'm not. Like, it's, like, wait, how do you cast that? I don't. Like, that's
That's funny.
It's fun. Yeah, mono red Atraxa, let's go. Yep.
Oh, okay.
We'll find a way.
Giving me nightmares. So I don't want to fully pivot away from Twitch, but I want to bring up one thing to lead into something else. It'll make sense. But so outside of Twitch, I think probably, in my opinion, I could be wrong, one of your other big things is this character of Piggy Banks.
Yes.
The Wolf of Ravnica Street, if you will. I don't know. I couldn't think of anything clever at the top of
the
my head.
Wolf of Tin Street. That could be a thing. All right.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, was that something you were like, oh, I had this idea let me see if it hits, or was it like something like, oh, let me try this one? Like, was it always something you were hoping was going to be like a recurring character you can kind of do on TikTok for short form kind of stuff, or how did that kind of like what was that thought process like?
Yeah. So, if you're not familiar, there's if you've been on social media and you've seen the magic shorts that start with a dude in big sunglasses going, "Okay, sell me this cat." That's me. I also learned the Clark Kent thing's real. Like when I go to conventions and I'm not wearing those sunglasses, people do not realize that that's me, which is really funny. But yeah, so the sell me this card shorts, those started as kind of a random aside, like, because when it comes to short form content, I am woefully ignorant. Like the idea that I need to take an idea and contain it with like under 60 seconds, preferably around 30. Like what? Like that sounds. As somebody who's going to talk for, I'm comfortable talking for 9 hours at a time. Like that's not comfortable for me at all. Long form is definitely my preferred medium, and so I was trying to figure out like different methods to create some kind of short form content. And one of my very first attempts, I actually had a solo podcast that I did for a while called Overthinking MTG, which I stand by that name. I thought that was really solid. And what I would do is it was a daily thing that I was recording often in the evenings after coming home from work and doing dinner and cleaning up and all that stuff. So it was very late and I was exhausted. And what I would do is I would go on Gatherer and later Scryfall and just click the random card button and talk about it for 10 minutes and then release that as a podcast. And so sometimes it was and the first time a basic land showed up, we found a way. I did do it. I wasn't like, well, that's a mulligan redo. I was like, nope, let's look at this art for this forest and talk about it.
What was the land though? That's I feel like, that's the.
The first one that I think I got, if I recall correctly, was an 8th edition island that I'm trying to, and it was one that I had actually owned in paper when I was younger. So it was like, okay, this is a springboard to talk about like silly affinity decks from the early 2000s that I played or whatever, So yeah. I filled the time and it worked. But the thing about that show was it never really popped off, partially and actually probably entirely because I had no idea what I was doing as far as promoting a podcast. Like I'm sure the metadata stuff in the descriptions was all terrible.
Yeah.
But they were all available on YouTube, and I still have. There are a couple of episodes of that show. One of which was a random one. The first time a vehicle showed up. I think it was a Radra Express from Kaladesh, and I used that as an opportunity to like break down how vehicles work. And so when I posted it to YouTube, it has the title "How Vehicles Work in Magic: The Gathering," and I did do a breakdown of it. And holy cow, that one still gets views. It's one of my highest viewed like videos on YouTube right now.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's just a catchy title and it's a thing people specifically look for. So it worked, and it was just
evergreen content, right?
Evergreen content. Yeah, 100%. And so, but anyway, all of that is to say those Overthinking MTG shorts were like crapshoots. There would be one day where I would get 50 views, and there would be another where I would get literally 2. Like I think I have a couple that are still in the single digits that I recorded years ago now, because who wants to hear about diffusion wall or whatever? Like it's not a thing. It's a wall that can block shadow, you guys.
I was gonna say that's the wall block shadow. That was my play group played so much Shadow back in the day. I remember like there's a wall that can block them. Like how do I get this? Yeah, no,
let's go. Yeah,
I'm gonna go find that podcast. I'm gonna tell you right now.
I love it. Yeah. Well, and that one I remember looking at it like a week later, and it still had like 3 views. I was like, seriously, nothing. So, but that is all to say that like that format, it wasn't quite clicking for some reason, and I wasn't super jazzed about it, and so I ultimately shelved it in favor of doing some focusing on the stream and working on other things. And one of the podcasts that I did was a collaboration with my friend Astral's Flame, another great creator, and he and I did a podcast called The Landlords. And it started as us just being us, and like we would often like wear Hawaiian shirts when we were recording just for fun. And it was a banter podcast, and it was fine, but it also had a tough time finding an audience. And at one point, we kind of had this meeting of the minds of like, okay, what can we do to freshen this up? And we created characters that were business people, that as though they were land moguls, Yeah. And that's where Piggy Banks came from. So Astral's Flame, aka Burns Money, I have a lot of I have to thank him a lot for this Piggy Banks character. And ultimately, That podcast also ended up kind of fading out, but this character, I've had a lot of fun doing that voice and like putting on that air. And I still have like some backgrounds on my OBS that are like skyscraper, like penthouse suites and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's fun. It's a fun character to do. And so ultimately, I decided to kind of marry those two ideas of like, well, okay, I want to talk about an individual card, and I would like to incorporate piggy banks in some way. Like having an extra character is fun. And I'm also a huge fan of the YouTube show Pitch Meetings, which is all about movies, and it's a guy selling the movies to himself. Ryan George, phenomenal comedian. Go watch all of his videos. I know I do. So I was like, well, what if I shamelessly steal the Pitch Meeting format and just have piggy banks being the guy buying them? and it gives an opportunity to overthink individual cards in a shorter form, and instead of free forming for 10 minutes, let me think about it for 10 minutes, write a script, and condense it into 40 seconds or whatever, and try to find an opportunity for a joke, and and the rest is history, as it were. And it's funny because I've met a ton of people at like conventions and things who have wanted to make a connection with another creator, and they know me for the shorts and didn't even realize I was a streamer. And like the streaming is my primary, that's my home on the internet, and it's not even necessarily what I'm known for these days, which is kind of wild to me. Like but it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I mean, I usually see them on TikTok. Do you have them on YouTube Shorts as well? Is that? I mean, it's kind of.
I do.
Yeah. It's part of the thing these days. Where you do one, you put it on all the other. Do you do like a reel? Do you do Instagram Reels too? Do you put on? So you got exactly.
Yeah,
you
I put it on all the places. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so, I have my when I post them in the morning, I have my tabs. I've got Bluesky, Instagram, TikTok, and to the point where like my interaction with TikTok almost exclusively is just opening it up on my web browser, dropping the video, and like pasting in the description and leaving. Like I don't spend much time on TikTok at all. Meaning no disrespect to anybody who does. It's just as a creator, I know I need to be there. So
for sure. Well, it's funny because like I do my TikTok is one of my larger followings, but it's like it's wild like the collections of communities of like there's like a lot of Magic people on TikTok who like you don't see necessarily on Instagram or on Bluesky or and it's just kind of funny how that kind of filters out into the world and other kind of areas that you may not realize. But so do you? Okay, this is probably an obvious question. So when you film those, is it you do it all in your normal clothes and you do it all in the Piggy Banks costume and you just splice it together? Is that weird? Is that a weird like? It's like weird like having to like sit there like not have someone to bounce off of, or is it just like what is that what does that feel like to you? It's like.
Yeah, it's been fun to kind of get used to it, because it's funny too. There are a lot of elements. So yeah, I film them in batches, and so you'll notice like in a given week there will be like 5 videos, and I'm wearing the same shirt in all of them because I can't be bothered to change it for the salesman character. He's not on screen that much really, so I don't really stress it. But yeah, so I film all of his lines, and then I change, and it's funny actually right now. On my monitor, it's my monitors are like, or my one monitor is slightly below my camera. I actually have a sticker placed like at a certain point because that's the eye line. So when I'm filming Piggy Banks, I have a consistent thing that I'm staring at when I'm delivering those lines. And then for the salesman, I have one over here, and so I can, or it's the other way around. But yes, so I have those little details. And so what I do is I actually have to like crank the gain on my microphone and get it out of the shot when I'm doing it, which is interesting. But yeah, the idea of like talking to myself. Filming a script is so different than doing like a off the cuff podcast or a live stream. They just are. And it took a while to get used to, but like I'm very much acting, and doing, I don't know. I have a feeling that doing that kind of talking to yourself short, I would imagine it's very similar to like traditional film acting where like you're having a dialogue, but we're really just going to get your side of it. And you're talking to their stunt double because the back of their head is barely visible. And that's the only thing that matters or whatever. Like I have a feeling it's very similar to the way that film actors have been doing it for decades, I would imagine. And it's not bad. It took a while to get used to, but I don't mind it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it looks pretty seamless when I watch your finished product. So you must be doing something
Thanks.
right. Maybe you need to get the
Yeah.
tennis ball on a string, like when it's
Maybe that's the move. Yeah.
the CG this, or we're gonna get you a CGI piggy banks like.
And the other thing about that I find really funny, that the tool that I use that is really important. In my film editing software, I have there's a tool called silence detection. That oh my goodness, that is a lifesaver, because what I'll do is in any given video, I will film all of the lines for whichever character in one take, and if I flub a line, I just stop and then just restart it. And so like there are no real outtakes or anything. It's just sort of and so what I'll do is I'll take that full, like usually minute to 2 minute clip, depending on how many mess ups I had, and I'll use a silence detection on it, and it'll actually isolate each line read. And then I go in and pick exactly the ones that I want and mute the one, or remove the ones that I don't. And it makes the whole process. I mean, that's such a formula that I've gotten to a point where I can pound one of those out in about 20 minutes. It's nowhere near as hard as it used to be. Which is pretty cool. So silence detection is your friend, guys. Yeah, find those little tools. They make a big difference.
I think I've seen that. I think Premiere does that too. I don't usually let dead space hang on my podcast anyway, so I just keep making noises, even if it's just always. Deep, heavy breathing. So in addition to kind of streaming and obviously Piggy Banks, I wanted to kind of touch on a few other projects I know you're involved with. I know you are a member of Team Magic Jank. I believe that's something you do. And I think you guys have a podcast, or I've seen some articles. I can't remember if it's written in that. Let's talk about Magic Jank, because there's a lot of cool people involved with that. I want to give it its shine. And so why don't you talk about Magic Jank a little bit? I know I've met some people from it. I know there's Headology, there's Jaffer, there's Carlo. I think Astral Flame is part of it as well.
Astral's part of the team. Yep.
And I think I don't know if that's if I'm missing anybody or not. I'm trying to.
We also got the Filthy Casuals, Philly, Dafor, Just Lolaman, like two guys who are consistently competing for ranked number 1 on the limited ladder. No big deal, just saying. We've got a lot of phenomenal people on the team. It's really an honor, and actually, I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody or forgetting anybody, because it's an insane team to be a part of. Damien F16 as well, of course, is in the mix. Yeah, and Hollywood Pizza as well, who doesn't stream as often nowadays, but he's around. Oh, and Tron is Bad also is the most recent member of the team, which, holy cow, it's an honor to have him on board. And the amount of talent that has wanted to be a part of this team is really humbling. It's pretty great. So Magic Jank it is a stream team. That's what a lot of people know us for. And so if you're ever walking around like a convention and you see these bright like orange and blue honeycomb jerseys, that's us. Yeah. And come say hi. We're all friendly and we'd love to see you. But so that's part of, so doing the stream team is a big promotion part, but additionally magicjank.com is actually an online marketplace. Yeah. And so it's a place where you can buy and sell like single sealed products and actually just about anything. We have even if you have like apparel that would appeal to a Magic audience, assuming it's safe for work or whatever, that's something that you can sell on magicjank.com. So it's a website that actually I co-own actually. My business partner Abaddon, it was kind of his brainchild, and we've been working to launch it, and it's been around for a couple of years now, and the team has been very successful in growing. We're still trying to get the traction on the site and try to implement, ways to improve and make it more appealing. It's it turns out running an e-commerce business, holy cow, is that hard? Fun fact.
Who would have thought?
So, huge props to Abaddon for really holding it down and really just busting his tuchus to make Magic Jank successful. And if anybody out there is looking for an alternative to the other sellers in the space, you can list your products on Magic Jank. We'd appreciate it. It's another way to reach another audience. But yeah, so that's kind of the core of what it is has always been the website, and the team was it's funny, like the Piggy Banks shorts were originally intended as a way to promote the stream and have just become their own thing. The team was definitely first kind of conceived to one, celebrate how much talent is in this community. When we were first getting started, we always locked onto streamers who we knew were doing good things and we wanted to support. Like Hollywood Pizza was an early member of the team because he was running like tournaments for the community, like three times a month, and they were free to enter with cash prizes. It was nuts. Wow. And so it was an opportunity to, and he's also just a wonderful human being. I've had the privilege of, hanging out with him. And he actually, for MagicCon Philly, which is my very first MagicCon, I crashed with him for that. He actually, it was great. So in any event, so the Magic Jank team, it's a lovely community of incredibly talented folks. And also in the time that, since starting the team, we've picked up, I want to say like 3 or 4 different folks who reached partner after coming on board on Twitch. So we picked like Carlo and Damien are both examples of phenomenally talented streamers that if you watch them for any amount of time, like these guys have it, know, and we got them to sign on at a time before the rest of the world realized how amazing they were, and now they do, and it's wonderful, and I'm honored to be on a team with those guys, Yeah. And it's really fantastic. And we do have the podcast as well, the Magic Jank podcast, available anywhere podcasts are available to download. And we do that. We try to do it weekly. We don't have a consistent like posting schedule. It's usually at the beginning of the week because the weekends work best for us. But it's a rotating cast. It's members of the team. I'm the only constant on that podcast because I produce it. So any audio issues or anything, that's on me. So feel free to blow me up. But those are available on YouTube as well. And my hope is that it's some of your favorite streamers talking for an hour and a half to 2 hours about stuff in Magic, and it's a blast. It's so much fun.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I'll definitely make sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna link all this stuff, but so many cool people. Like I said, a lot of Tron, the Filthy Casuals, love those two.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness,
Jeff or Carlo, great people. I got to meet.
Amazing.
I think I met Carlo and Headology for the first time at this previous MagicCon Vegas, which was super cool.
Oh, rock on. Yeah.
Headology we were sitting, and she had all those really cool tokens that were like very.
Oh my goodness, her token game is
like Renaissance art inspired. I don't know. They were super cool. I was like, these are the most amazing. I think I have. They're somewhere.
And a lot of those are apparently like art projects that she did when she was in school.
That's right.
Like,
that's what. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
It's wild. Yeah.
That's so
it's
funny.
Very cool. If you see Headology at a convention, one, go say hi and talk with her for as long as you can because she's wonderful. But pick up those tokens. She has a Monarch token that is Hobbs from Calvin and Hobbs in like a Victorian like regal outfit. It's like with the big like neck ruffle. It's amazing. Yeah.
The number one Hobbs. He goes that Hobbs, and then it goes Hobbs Q is number 2. Don't tell him I said that. No, tell him I said that.
I think he'd be okay with that, right?
He would agree with me. He'd be like, yeah, Drew's right.
I mean, that's fair, right? Yeah.
Okay, and then even outside that podcast, you have a Commander show on YouTube, Generic Commander.
I do,
which
yes.
is, I mean, talk about jack of all trades over here. So, and not only I was doing kind of my research. You guys have 50 episodes of that show. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, people, if you're listening, if you are involved in any sort of like content creation, from like a video standpoint, hitting 50 episodes of anything is wild. Like, I think the statistic is like most videos, podcasts, whatever, like 99% of the time don't get past like 3 episodes, let alone like 5. I thought when I hit 30 of this show, I was like, man, that's crazy. 50 episodes, like that is impressive. Like that is an impressive feat. So first off, like hats off to you and that team over there.
Yeah.
But so Generic Commander, was just inspired to like, hey, let's film some Commander content with that. Just pretty straightforward there. Like what was the origin of that kind of show?
Yeah, so it actually started because that group. So there are 4 of us on that show. It's myself, Jarvis Moonbeam, Uncle Russ, and Jolly Saint Click. Who are all phenomenal, underappreciated members of this community, if I may say. Also, meaning no disrespect to Jarvis and Uncle Russ, Jolly Saint Click is the funniest person on TikTok, and if you're not following him, fix that. His short form content and the way his brain works is wild. He's an improviser, and so being able to riff with him is a delight every time. But regardless, yes, I do have a slight crush on Jolly St. Click, and you can tell him I said that. I'll say that in this mic. So the generic commander actually started because I think we like that pod got together just by happenstance with scheduling on. I think Jarvis was hosting a commander show on his stream. And it just happened to be the four of us that were available for that day. And so we came on and we had a great time. And we had all been like guests on various commander streams over the years. And so we've been, in each other's orbits, and we've played with each other a number of times. And when that particular show ended, and when that stream ended, we just were hanging out in the voice chat. And I don't remember exactly who, I think it might have been Jarvis, was just like, this pod's awesome. Do you guys want to just like play more? And all of us were like, yes, absolutely. Like, this is like, yeah. And really, so Generic Commander, we thought like, well, we'll film a couple episodes. And if it's, if we're having fun, we'll keep going. And the truth of the matter is that group is just awesome. And everybody has their own kind of vibe that they're bringing. And at this point, we have inside jokes and the little gags. Like, I'm always the one targeted with the Bajuka Bog. And there will always be a Dothy Voidwalker that hits the battlefield, like, every time. It's not an episode of Generic Commander if somebody doesn't threaten to win with Sir Conrad. Like, it's, we have what we do, and it's a blast. And the reality is, even when the game doesn't go like the way I want, or even if like some unfortunate stuff happens, like I've been locked out and done nothing and had a great time with those dudes because it's just fun. Yeah. It doesn't matter what's happening in the game. We are going to have a good time. And so yeah, Generic Commander is an excuse for just four friends to play Magic together, and we're gonna keep it going, and it's great. And we're also actually looking into starting to release it as a podcast as well, so there will be audio versions because the visuals on it. Huge shout out to Uncle Russ who does our editing. Yeah, he's an absolute legend for that. But it's a Mox field, or not Mox field. It's a spell table, like static shot is what it is. Like, we're not doing a lot of like crazy edits, because we all have so many other things going on, and
you don't got full card animations like animating, Emrakul Rising and
yeah, we're not doing the full game nights thing. Like, it's very impressive, but we don't have that kind of like staff or time. Yeah. It just, and so it's yeah. But I gotta say, I found those games to be really fun, and I've also occasionally gone back and like listened back to how a game unfolded from like some time ago, and it's also been really insightful. And I noticed certain things about like certain patterns about how my deck performed that I wasn't really aware of in the moment, and I've been able to make improvements, to my commander decks because, well, I'm reviewing the tape, is kind of how it works. And yeah, it's a ton of fun. It's a great group. So yeah, Generic Commander over on YouTube. If you want to just hang out with some of your favorite commander content creators. Yeah.
An audio only. Well, I should say only because there's a YouTube video, but a podcast-based commander show. It's interesting. Like, I would check that out. That's a very interesting thing, just listening to people to make their plays and this and that. Like,
yeah. And we always read the cards. When we play a card, we read out what it does every time. That's something that we've done for a long time, because I know when I'm watching a stream, if somebody just plays some staple, if I'm not familiar with it quickly, I get lost, and I want to make sure that we're not letting that happen. Also, because we pull some weird, obscure stuff sometimes. So yeah, we got to take a second.
Well, we also live in the realm now where like there's too many cards to know all the cards, right? It's just there's so much, and especially when we're playing over spell table, like the cameras they're fine for whatever, but like what is that card you're playing? Like, what is it? But yeah, that's interesting. I would definitely check that out because it's a very interesting way to kind of tackle commander kind of game show like that. Because I don't think anyone else is doing that. I don't think there's anyone just throwing an audio version of a commander, because you'd think you need the visual, but you really how different Huh.
Yeah, and that's ultimately what it was. I was really just kind of thinking, like, well, how am I watching this? Like, well, I'm not. I'm listening to it. Like when I put on, like, most of the time when I put on gameplay shows, like long form gameplay shows, I'm mostly listening. If I'm honest, I'm listening to the table talk and I'm listening to the moments, and I will, like, if something crazy is happening, or if there's a big reaction to something, I will go check. Oh, what was that? And look back at the video. But I know me. when I'm consuming that kind of content, I'm often multitasking, and we have been presenting it kind of with that in mind this whole time. Like we've been reading cards out and whatnot.
Yeah.
And the visuals haven't necessarily been the primary objective. We've been trying to make the audio as good as possible. So why not? We'll see if it works. It might be a total hot mess, but it could also be a fun niche, like a Commander show on your commute or something. It could be a fun thing. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? You've piqued my interest, so I'm excited for that. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for that.
Thanks. I'll definitely let folks know when we start doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So lastly, I'm not sure how active this is, but I have to bring it up because I adore them to death. You did have a show with Brouhaha, Hot Soup.
I did.
Hot Soup. I don't think I haven't seen any episodes or recently. I could be mistaken. My life has been all over the place, but
oh no, you're not wrong.
And that's just life happens, right? When you're doing so much stuff. But friend of the show, Brouhaha, adore them. Just simply the best.
The best. Yeah.
A force of nature is one way to describe them. They just are. They are. If you haven't
100%.
met them, they are loud. They are outspoken, but they are hilarious, and they are just the best. So
best.
I just wanted to. I wanted to talk about that show a little bit because it just, in a lot of ways, you two are very different.
Oh yes.
You are, and maybe that's kind of the point is you are a little more. I mean, don't get me wrong, you are very outgoing, but you're a little more reserved. Brouhaha is not reserved at all. So
it's not hard to be more reserved than Brew. Yeah.
So when I first started kind of watching this, I was like, oh, this is it's hilarious. It's just funny. But like, what was that like? Were you just talking one day, or like we should just do a show? Like, what was? Talk to me about the Hot Soup.
Yeah.
Because
so
even the name is great.
It was a blast. So we're not like that show never like got canceled, but we've both been very busy, and I don't know that we really found the best like medium for that. Like, is that a podcast? Is that a live stream? Is that canned YouTube shows? Like, yeah, it very much felt like a podcast, which I'm down. Like I'm always on board for that. And it was funny. We started with let's just do Commander stuff. Let's talk Commander, and like it was the first opportunity that I had to like really focus on Commander because my streams are very primarily standard and arena based. Yeah. And so like okay, we're gonna talk all Commander, and I think our second episode, like the second episode that Brouhaha and I did, we just showcased a bunch of custom cards that we made for Universes Beyond Letterkenny. Like that's how it got off the rails immediately. Like there were no rails. It was great. Which I had some designs I was very proud of in that set that I thought were very interesting, and some of which almost came true. I had an idea for a counter spell that was very similar to Aven Interrupter, based on Shorzy, and I stand by it. Anyway, that was a random aside, but so no, that show it really just came down to like when it comes to a lot of like content creation and when it comes to a lot of I don't know my life in general, I'm pretty chill and very passive as things are happening unless somebody pulls me in, and Brew is the kind of person who will pull you in. Brouhaha decided basically that we were going to be friends, and I'm really glad they did. Yeah.
Friendship acquired. That was when I had them on my show. By the end, they were like, "Oh, we're friends now. You are never getting rid of me." And I'm like, "I'm okay with this." And yeah, they are.
Yeah, totally. And and I think I guessed it on an episode of Salt Factory one time, and it was like, "By the way, we're friends now." Like, oh, okay. And and yeah, I'm grateful for it. And to this day, actually, while we haven't been recording Hot Soup, we have been DMing occasionally of like, we need to do that, and like, yes, we do, but when? I don't know. So someday Hot Soup will return. That one I also had a lot of fun with, like getting trying to get our cameras synced up. So I actually have a scene on my OBS that's like a news desk, and we both do green screens. And so I put it so we're both next to each other, even though we are like, we're like a dozen states away from each other. And it's funny how that works. But it was fun to get that set up, and I do think it's a fun dynamic, and I
yeah.
always enjoy that. But I do still guest on their stream every other week for D&D. So there's a
That's
D&D
right.
session that
Yeah.
Bruja hosts on Thursday nights that I've been joining, which is definitely a good time. Not always the most productive D&D sessions, but the banter is just A plus. Yeah, it's delightful.
D&D, I had a group for a while with some friends, and it was, you know, big enough group. The biggest obstacle is just scheduling, right?
Oh my
And
goodness,
then
yes.
and then we get together and we spend more time just like chatting and catching up and trying to like,
Yeah.
story gets going and then like something happens and like all of a sudden it's another 20 minutes. It's like, well, what
Yeah.
should we do? Or someone should do this and this. But I think I think Hot Soup stuck out to me because I think it's one of those things where it's a very good lesson for creators. Just like try weird, like I don't say weird, try different stuff, right? Try
It's a little weird.
the new. Like, I don't want to say new, like weird, but like try the maybe something that's like not just your everyday. Like try the show with your friend, and it's gonna be just
Mhm.
it's gonna be a little while. You'll be out there and like if it works, great. If not, like there's no I think sometimes people are so afraid to like get out of a comfort zone per se.
Yeah.
Just don't be afraid to try new things. And it was, it's just, it was very entertaining. I look forward to its eventual return
Thanks.
for the
Yeah,
two of you. So
Yeah, we'll bring something back. And the name, actually, we were literally on a voice call just trying to figure out what should the name for the show be. And
Yeah.
Hot Soup is one of Bruja's like favorite cards, and it was just a random thing that they just threw out, and we both just laughed. And it was like, well, and there are shows like Talk Soup and whatnot, so like Hot
Yeah.
Soup, sure, like
Yeah, it makes sense.
it wasn't too bad. And I actually did a logo that was the artwork for Hot Soup, which is that goblin army, and there's one in the front like cowering, and the other holding the big cauldron, and I put. Because we each have logos that are like pastel versions of our face,
Yeah.
and so Bruja is the goblin holding the cauldron, and I'm in the front cowering. Yeah, it was that was a fun little Photoshop project. Yeah.
But yeah.
So,
I mean,
anyway.
you just picking names. I mean, show and tell. I literally was like coming
Yeah.
up for names for this show, and I was like, what is a relatively like known? I know. So I started playing during the Urza blocks. I'm like, what's the card from the Urza block that like I kind of remember? And I was kind of going through stuff. I was like, show and tell. Like that was a card, and I think it still sees play in like Legacy maybe, and it kind of like it's on theme with an interview show, right? Because you're showing and telling
Absolutely.
about people and
Yeah.
stuff. So it's
dig
kind of long, but it's
It works.
it's kind of so.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny how that stuff works out. So one of the reasons I wanted to kind of bring up all these projects you've done is I know we kind of had some pre-interview discussions and some this and that, and I know you're passionate about growing kind of Twitch and like long form stuff versus short form stuff, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of like maybe expand upon that, like at least your thoughts on long form versus short form, or maybe just some advice for people who are listening who are like, well, I kind of want to do streaming, or I kind of want to do shorts or TikToks, just because you've done it all, right? At this point, we've got full-time streamer, we got a commander show on YouTube, we got shorts with piggy banks, we got a commentary show. Like that's not a lot of people are covering that kind of many things. So really excited to just what you've learned or what your thoughts are on all those sort of formats, like what kind of information maybe you can kind of impart on people who are looking for some more inside baseball stuff on like just on your kind of journey and content creation.
Oh, absolutely. So I think the most important element that I know was critical for me in kind of my journey was figuring out what I enjoyed the most, because whether it's successful or not, you're going to be doing a lot of it. And so I know for me, I really had to kind of lock on. Early on, I was experimenting with a little bit of everything, and I realized the stream is where I feel like fulfilled, or like there's something valuable there that I'm getting. And I've actually, I think I figured that out. I am reluctant to accept the fact that I'm an extrovert. But I definitely am. And there's something about like social connection that is really valuable that throughout various, work from home kind of careers and things that I've had, it's tough to come by. And Twitch definitely fills that for me. It's valuable. It's worthwhile. And even when the chat isn't active, engaging with the game and myself in actively, and having to be present and be conscious of it is something that's valuable for me, just emotionally.
I'm gonna
So I know,
real fast. I'm just gonna point out, if you're
Yeah.
not watching, Ham's cat has jumped on his lap. So if you hear some
Yes.
vibrations, it is.
Sorry about that.
No. It's. I always joke this is a pro animal podcast, so please any animals. But in case someone's like, listen, what is that? What is that noise?
What is
There's
that? What
a
does
cat.
that sound?
It's the cat daddy. The cat's like, what is real fast? I got what?
Yeah. So this
tell
is
the audience the cat.
Yeah, this is Peas Blossom, which that is one of the fairies from Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. Because I'm a nerd, believe it or not. Yes, the Magic the Gathering content creator has a cat named after an obscure Shakespeare character. So that is, yeah, and she actually is, I about 15 years old. Believe it or not. Yeah, and I actually adopted her when she was 1. So yeah, there's been a lot of life and a lot of ups and downs that she's been with me through, and that was having a cat while being a streamer. And actually, when my channel was first starting, I had 2. Yeah, her sister Imogen is unfortunately no longer with us, but the two of them were often like when I came home from work and wanted to film, Overthinking MTG, they would be crawling up to get attention. And I remember having a thought of like, oh, how am I going to make content for the internet with these cute cats climbing all over me? And it's like, wait, hold up, like, just
Wait a minute.
Just put them in the frame. What are we doing here?
Internet loves cats.
Exactly, of course. Like, so I learned the joys of that, and so her face is one of my emotes on my channel, and it's a whole thing. Yeah, and actually, I'm really grateful. I recently I got gifted this chair recently for my birthday, actually, which is a very thoughtful present. The back is big enough that she can actually perch on top of it, so that's a new thing that happens on stream occasionally.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll have a little parrot cat on the back, which is delightful. But yeah. So what were we talking about? The long form versus short form.
Long form.
Like
You're talking. You kind of came back saying like you've had to come with grips that you're an extrovert. I feel like you're a lot like me in the sense that you're an introverted extrovert. Where like I think
I'm like a shy, socially awkward extrovert, which is a weird place to be, but it's very real. I want to be surrounded by people, and I want to be in the middle of it all. But I don't know how to impose myself and get there. So that's why I have friends like Bruja or Headology who have accepted that I'm cool and will pull me into those situations. It's very helpful. Have those people in your life, guys. It's great. But yeah, so I'm very much and being into nerdy things and enjoying quiet time by myself. I always assumed I was an introvert, and a lot of my friends, were. But no, I very much get energy. I feel more energetic when I'm with people, and I'll stream for 8 or 9 hours, and when I get done, it's often my voice just feeling hoarse. That is, or just being hungry and just kind of needing to let my eyes focus. That's why I'm stopping. I'm not actually tired of it. I've literally had streams that were 6 hours long, and I feel like the time flew by, just disappeared. Because that's my comfort zone. It does. I don't think I could stream for less than 3 hours. I don't think I could do it. Because it would feel like I didn't do anything. It just immediate. And there's something very comfortable about that. I'm not saying that I'm naturally better at it. I'm just more comfortable doing it than I am other forms. And so if you look at that and if you've tried streaming and if you don't enjoy with any content creation, the best advice that I think I can impart is find whatever works for you. And it's not where you're most successful or where you get the most views. That's not the thing that really matters. Unless those views give you motivation and energy to continue, then by all means. But have you mastered the CapCut style edits on your phone to be able to do some really cool short form stuff just out in the world with your phone? Great, keep doing that. If that's fun and you enjoy it and you just want to keep doing it, keep doing it. Because consistency is one of the most important elements of all of this. I know that's that's such a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. Yep. It's just true. Yep. If you want to be successful at it, you have to do a ton of it. But the other part about that is you don't have to be successful at it if you enjoy doing it. If it's just a hobby and you have no intention of it becoming your job, just let it happen. And live streaming is a thing that I would do. Live streaming is a thing I would do anyway. If tomorrow everybody in my chat decided, you know what, I don't know why we liked this guy anyway, and they all left, I'd still stay. I would still be there, and I would still be doing it. If I had to go get a day job and I had to, work out this, I'm very fortunate to be able to pay the bills right now. Living a cheaper lifestyle than I used to. Being able to live stream, it's a real pleasure and a real honor. And the thing is, like, the ad revenue and the subscriptions is the biggest part, the Twitch subscribers, and that it's an honor that there's enough people out there who are willing to throw $5 at me a month so that they don't have to put up with ads on my channel, and also to keep me there longer. I'm incredibly humbled and overjoyed that they're willing to do that. And it's an excuse to just keep streaming, because it's the thing I want to be doing. Like, I don't need to be a wealthy full-time, big Twitch celebrity. I don't need that. I just want to play and meet cool people who want to play and build my stupid decks and look at cards like Dawn Sire that deals 100 damage to a creature when you attack, and try to figure out ways to brew that. Like today, we had a great moment on stream where I was doing viewer brews, and somebody submitted a deck that was using Screaming Nemesis, and they were trying to combo it with like Witchstalker Frenzy. And I was like, oh, did you know about this rat from like Wilds of Eldraine that does something very similar? And they were like, wait, really? Like, no, I didn't know about that. Like, let's have some fun, everybody. And and so the opportunity to just do some silly nonsense with people who are receptive to that it's the best. And I can't imagine spending my time doing anything else, and if it paid nothing, if I had to pay to do it, I would, I'm very grateful that it's the other way around, but so find the thing that you would pay to do and do that, whatever it is. That's,
that's, yep. Your earnestness is, I can feel it, like, listening to you, and it makes me glad, because you're a great screener. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about, because I watched your stream all day today. I had it on while I was doing my work. So
thank you for that. Appreciate it.
I'm glad that you've gotten to the point where, like, you can do this and, like, it can sustain you, because it's to your point about, you kind of gotta like what you're doing, right? If no one watched you would kind of still pay to kind of do this. Like, this show, all my stuff I do, I don't make all this stuff just costs me money, all my photo stuff, but I enjoy doing it. Like, it gives me an opportunity to express myself in a way that I hadn't been able to do before. And I think, like, for, like a streamer, like the time investment in doing it, like, you've got to really like doing it, because otherwise you just go crazy. Like, the fact that you're like, the fact that you're like, I have 6-hour stream. Like, if it wasn't just my throat, like, I'd keep going. Like, I think that says a lot about your mentality and how you approach streaming, and I think it really comes off in your streams and in your work. And this kind of stuff affords us the opportunities. Like, think about you and I never would have met had it not been for not only Magic, but just like doing stuff in Magic, right? You being a streamer, me like going to conventions and doing projects and this or that. Like, it's kind of a weird because it's funny. I actually met you so we've not, so this is 2025, 24. So 2023, I actually met you in Vegas. You were playing a game. I stopped by, I said hi while you were in the middle of something. You gave me a token because, like, hey, I'm a big fan of Fight Me Fridays and your Brews Days. And you're like, oh, and then it was the Vegas afterwards. We were both at that event, kind of like hanging out, and we sat down for a game, and that's really where I kind of got to know you, because it was just, we were there for a few hours.
Right. Yeah.
And then now this previous, this most recent convention, like, I got to see you, talk to you all the time as we were kind of doing our own thing. So it's,
oh my goodness.
The ability to be afforded the opportunity to kind of meet all these people through a game, and then through kind of creating stuff is very underrated. And I don't think people really understand, like, the thrill that can kind of bring someone.
Oh my goodness, yes, absolutely. It's incredibly rewarding. And the other thing is, like, when it comes to what kind of content to make, I know there's a lot of discussion of like, oh, well, what game should I stream? It's like, whichever one lights you up, that's what matters. Like, and so for me, like, I love Magic on a level that is just not, like, it's not present for anything else, really.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy the Final Fantasy games. I enjoy, like, I play Sea of Thieves, and like that kind of stuff is fun. But at the end of the day, I always come back to Magic, and I always have come back to Magic. and there's just something special about it. And the fact that so many other people also love this game is awesome, and it's given me an opportunity to, meet like-minded folks. But if you're listening to this and you're not necessarily as into Magic, but like you just absolutely love maybe even some other like obscure title, like maybe you play friggin' Eternal TCG, for example. Like maybe you're totally into it and you totally love it. There are a handful of people on Twitch who are very engaged in that game. It is a relatively small community, but they're there and they are intent, and you'd be surprised, and there's maybe some obscure game. Like I had I met a lot of people randomly. Like I've streamed like Untitled Goose Game. I've streamed Final Fantasy VI. I did cooking streams with my mom a couple of times, and like you'd be amazed how many people you can meet. Like I met folks who jumped into those streams who had no idea who I was. They were just looking for those kinds of shows, and they popped in and said hi. And like I picked up some new people. I'm currently working through Final Fantasy IX, just sort of whenever I can. And those streams have got a really good reception as well. Overall view count much lower than when I'm streaming Magic, because it's not my core audience's core game. But it's an incredibly rewarding experience, and there are tons of people who were there who wouldn't have been there for Magic. Whatever it is that you enjoy, do that. That's really what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, find what you love and keep doing it, because it pays off big time. Yeah.
If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Which actually is a lie, because you'll probably work harder. But you'll probably
enjoy
a lot,
it. But you don't hate it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I have to bring up, because you mentioned your cat's named after a Shakespeare character. You've gotten back into local theater a little bit. You've done some theater work. In the I wrote this phonetically. Ypsilanti.
Ypsilanti, yes.
Ypsilanti.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Or Ipsy is also acceptable. Yep.
There you go.
Yes,
Ipsy.
Ipsy.
So theater. Have you always been? So my wife's a theater kid. Have you always been a theater kid? Is this thing new to you? Again, coming back to the introverted, extroverted sort of thing. Like, for like me, I'm pretty introverted, but like you put me on a stage, like I used to play in a band, which feels really out of character. I host like an interview show, right? You put yourself in these situations.
I've seen you do karaoke. I know you have it in you. Yeah.
I love karaoke. I had such a good time doing that too. I was actually surprised.
That was a great night.
Oh, that was such a good time. But yeah, so have you always been into theater? Is this kind of a new thing for you? Like, what's your theater background like?
Yeah, so I have hung out with theater kids my whole life. I have been to many, many shows, and when I was in high school, I did tech for a number of shows. I did a lot of lighting work for different theater productions, but I didn't perform. It wasn't until I was in like my 20s, like very much later in life, that I got roped in, because a lot of my friends and family, including actually my mom, has always been big into the theater, which is kind of the main reason why I kind of grew up around it. And it was some theater. There was a community production where it was just like, I think you'd enjoy this, or I think you'd be good for it, and you need to get out more, so come do this. And there were just a couple of community shows where they just needed guys, because believe it or not, small town theater, they are always short on guys. If you would like to perform, if you are a male presenting individual and you would like to perform in a local theater, they would be happy to have you. That's just the case. And I didn't even realize that like I could sing or any of that. And I just sort of got roped into this, and it just sort of happened. And there were a couple of musicals, and it's fun fact. There was one musical. It was actually an original production. It was based off of a biblical story, and I played one of the apostles. And it had a fully original score and everything. And afterwards, after it was a one night engagement, it was a one night thing. It was cool. It was a really fun show. And afterwards, the local the high school band director, who had been the high school band director when I was in school, or not band director, sorry, the theater director and choir director, afterwards came up to me and shook me. I was like, "Where were you?" Like, I didn't know. I'm sorry. So yeah, so that was fun. But yeah, she knew who I was, knew I had been around, and I had never auditioned for any of her shows. Yeah, so no, I realized very late in life that I enjoy being a performer, and I do, and so here we are. But in the last few years, I've become more and more involved. And I actually have another friend who is on the leadership group of the neighborhood theater group in Ypsilanti, who texted me kind of out of the blue at this point, like about a year ago. No, not quite, but 8-9 months ago or whatever, saying, "Hey, we have this original show that we're doing. It's a musical. Come audition if you want. No pressure, but I think it'd be fun." And sure enough, I went and did it, and it was the first show I'd been in a couple of years. Mm-hmm. Well, one of very few shows that I'd been in, and it was a blast. And it was one of those where a relatively small cast, and I played and so completely original comedic story. It was based on like 90s Lifetime original movies, so it was a parody of
okay.
Like A Woman's Scorn or Mother's Knows Best or all those like classic, like super cheesy, like over the top, like crime drama movies. And so I played the probably the only like fully well-adjusted character in the whole thing, which was like really delightful. I was kind of the straight man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a ton of fun. And so that was one of those where it kind of reignited kind of a little spark. And I actually have officially joined the ensemble of that theater group, and we're working on an upcoming Halloween show that I'm going to stage manage for. And so if you're in the Ypsilanti area, there's a non-zero chance that if there's a show going up at the back office studio, I may or may not be in it or be involved in it in some way, because it's an absolute delight. And I've been having so much fun just getting out of my own little bubble, because like the stream and all the content that you just mentioned, all those shows I filmed from this spot in my 1-bedroom apartment where I live with me and the cat. Getting out into public space and being able to talk and collaborate with other creative people. And that particular group, every time I'm in a room with those folks and they all start talking, I realize everybody in there is absolutely just insanely brilliant, and they're all just brilliant, charming, incredibly witty. And I have this moment of like, and they're welcoming of me. Like, do I actually fit in with these guys? Like, this is amazing. It's the best. So, yeah. So that's a thing that it's new-ish, and it has never been it hasn't been a huge part of my life. It's just now I'm really now accepting that I've been a theater kid,
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, I don't want to be people say go touch grass or join a theater troupe. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's good to get out of your
mm-hmm.
your little bubble a little bit. And I think especially, like you said, as a creator or a streamer, you spend a lot of time by yourself in a room. Like that could
mm-hmm.
be, even if you're enjoying it, there could be, sometimes you gotta get out there and maybe kind of interact a little bit. So
mm-hmm.
it sounds like you're having a great time, and you are charming and witty and funny. So no wonder you fit right in. Like don't even worry about that. Oh. But yeah, that's cool. I mean, and again, it's like it's so funny like how we can, and I wonder, you think about like the streamer aspect, and it's like, to me it's like, oh yeah, it makes sense you be at a theater. Like streaming is like almost like putting on a play. Like you're putting on like I don't say persona, but you're kind of you're performing, right? It's a type of performance that you're doing for 6, 7, 8 hours at a time. So like
mm-hmm.
I am not surprised you're into theater, because it tracks exactly with, I think, kind of your personality and what you're trying to do. Yeah. So that's super cool.
It's fun.
If I ever make my way out to Ypsilanti, I'll have to kind of keep it out. I would love to catch a show, or when I finally sit down and write the great Magic musical, I know who I'm calling to.
100% yes.
Oh
my goodness.
Listen, Game Nights Live, Commander at Home Live. No. Give me Magic the musical live on stage. That's it right there.
Yes, I'm so here for this. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Magic the Gathering the musical. How do we do this? Yes, let's make that happen. I'm there. 100%. I'll move things around if I have to.
Right. There we go. Think about the Gatewatch, like we have to stop Nicol Bolas, and then like the Gatewatch form the Gatewatch Form the Gatewatch, Jace. You have to form the Gatewatch. Oh, I'm writing this down. Actually, that's pretty smart.
Yeah,
Form-
dude,
I may
that's
have
a banger. Let's go. I'm smelling a Tony, man. You got this. Yeah.
first step towards my EGOT.
Yes. All right.
So, anyways, last thing, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, like, on top of everything else that you do between Twitch and YouTube and TikTok and Reels and Shorts, you're an ambassador, a 3 times
Yes.
MTG ambassador. We were kind of talking about currently for Edge of Eternities, for your one for Aether Drift, and Innistrad Remastered, which,
Yeah.
you know, to me, the game has given like me so much, like to be able to represent it in such a way, I think is a very cool honor. So
my goodness,
I
yes.
just, like, I don't know what the ambassador program has been like for you. I've had different ambassadors on the show before, but I mean, I don't know if you when you've kind of like get these ambassador positions, like what kind of goes through your mind as someone who's played Magic for like a good chunk of their life.
Oh, it's an incredible honor. I mean, I'm also very fortunate. It doesn't always come with it, but I've had a couple of preview cards as well, which is a thing that it may or may not come with the ambassador program, and I've been fortunate enough to have been selected for those.
Yeah.
It is like the first time I got that email. I don't remember who I was with, but like, when they first like bring you in, it's definitely with an understanding of like, we want to, like, please just kind of keep this under wraps until we're ready to announce it. They want to control kind of the pace of how things come out. I get it. It makes perfect sense. Like,
For sure.
they have a marketing plan and they want to stick with it, and we're a part of it. And so, yeah, keeping that to myself was really hard the first time that I got that email, because I was on cloud 9. This notion of like Wizards of the Coast, the company that makes this game that I have been absolutely enamored with for so many years, recognizes it was very validating. This notion of, it's not that I didn't count before, it's not that I didn't matter before, but it was a notion of like them saying, we see you and we like what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, wow, like that was powerful. It was. Funnily enough, like I didn't really feel any like additional pressure necessarily, because I was gonna film the Sell Me This Card shorts anyway. I just have a different hashtag that I put on them now, and I was gonna do the promotion anyway, and this is basically their way of kind of encouraging that. And it's also fantastic though, because part of being an ambassador, they do provide us with product to help us with our content. And so as a result, sometimes Piggy Banks will have a pocket square that is like a new set that when I film that isn't out yet, but that card has been spoiled. And that is one of those little details and little like elements that wouldn't be possible without Wizards support. And that's just so cool. Additionally, just in their best interest, when I do episodes of Generic Commander, or when I'm, guesting on Commander streams, my decks also have like new cards in them at a pretty high rate, because I definitely want to encourage that, and show it off. Like I did build the Sammy Wildcat Captain Commander deck, and it has all of the affinity nonsense, including the Endstone in it that you'd expect. And getting a chance to kind of show that stuff off is a ton of fun, and it's an honor. It really is. And the preview cards especially, that was the one of my favorite. One of my all-time favorite Magic cards is now Gas Guzzler, because that was my first preview card for Aether Drift. I got to preview Gas Guzzler, and it's like, you guys gave me the corny dad joke. Oh, let's go. I was very excited. And
that's the
I don't even think
Ben
that card
Stiller
is necessarily.
Ben Stiller looking,
the Ben Stiller looking vampire, that's the one. And so like, I opened like one of them, and I have that it's set aside next to my Dragonologist, which was my Tarkir Dragonstorm card as well. And I just and I forgot to mention that I was a Tarkir Dragonstorm ambassador as well. That's another thing. It's crazy that I'm
that's right.
It's happened enough times that I'm losing track. Oh my goodness, that's
look at you, Mr. Big Shot over here. Who's the real Piggy Banks and Mr. Ambassador Big Shot?
That's I know, right? That's very humbling. It's great. It's so cool. But at the same time, like, for everybody out there who has like applied and hasn't gotten the ambassador program, like one of the things that in talking with everybody involved, like, don't like they're doing a good job of trying to like rotate and get folks involved. And like just because I have been an ambassador before doesn't mean I'm going to be in an upcoming set. It's downright likely that there will be sets that I'm not. And you listening to this might get picked up. They are doing a great job of keeping of getting folks in of all different sizes and mediums and, and focuses, who just love the game. And so the biggest thing is just stay in touch, keep reaching out to them and let them know, that you're out here. And, the sheer volume of folks that they have to like sift through is kind of insane. I'm sure. So yeah. So it's one of those where I don't know what else to say. Like I'm genuinely honored, but if you don't get it, don't stress. Just keep doing what you're doing, and that will come around because that validation, while it feels nice, honestly, it didn't feel. That felt really good, but it felt the same kind. Like it felt just as good as that time I had a friend who'd never played Magic before, who said, I have no idea what's going on, but I like your streams because your energy is good.
Yeah.
Like, that felt as good as Wizards of the Coast saying, hey, we want you to help promote the new set. Like, genuinely, those little moments and little successes. Like, I have, even seeing a chat message now of just like, holy crap, that was awesome. After a cool play. Like, that feels as good as Wizards of the Coast saying, you're an ambassador. So, it feels like it's it feels like a huge deal. And it's a cool thing, but it's not the be all end all,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Literally, it's the exact same thing. It's like I think they do a good job balancing large name people and smaller creators. I think Lady Lavinius runs the program now. She was a cosplayer.
Well. She handles the engagements during conventions. There's another group. There's a marketing like firm that they now work with, Out Loud, that handles a lot of the ambassador engagements. Yeah. So things have changed hands in the last few months. A couple of times. Some things have moved around.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
But there's just a lot. There's a lot of Magic content creators.
There's a lot.
Like I think they choose, usually every set has a pretty good amount of ambassadors, 15, 25. I don't know.
It's something like that. It's a pretty big group every time. Yeah.
But relative to how many people who are probably, it's a small percentage. So like I would not stress on. To your point, it's not the be all end all. There's a lot more going on. Like it's cool, but like I think sometimes people get a little too worked up about things, and it's like don't let that define you completely as a creator or something. So
absolutely, yeah.
But I will say for you, as someone who has done it, like I think that's a testament to you as a creator, as a person. So it's very good. I think you're a very good, really good ambassador of the game. So I think that's
Thank you.
As someone who plays the game a lot, like. For me, like seeing you as someone who represents the game, I'm like, yeah, that's someone I want representing the game I play. So,
and I appreciate that. And I hear that kind of thought in the back of my head. That's like, oh, I'm an official ambassador to this. Every time I'm on stream, being like, VV was a mistake. I cannot believe that they let this go to print. What were they thinking? Like, it's like, yeah. Also, official ambassador. Just saying. Yeah.
God, that card's OP.
It is what it is. Meanwhile, the character Vivi in Final Fantasy IX is amazing, and I love him. So it's a weird disconnect, Yeah. Anyway.
So again, Ham, you've been phenomenal. I don't want to. I know it's you're on the East Coast. It's getting a little late for you. So what I'd like to do right now is throw up my community board through the magic of video editing. So I'm just gonna go like this. Yeah.
Ooh.
And
well, how'd you do that? Oh,
magic.
Amazing.
So what I like to do is all of my guests, I like them to have to pick a group, a charity organization for me to make a donation to. You have chosen the Food Gatherers in Ann Arbor.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is make a donation to them in terms of just a little something as a, again, a thank you for kind of coming on and just be able to support like a good cause, which is always fun to do. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. This has been a blast. What do you have? Let's see. these are now evergreen, so I'm going to throw. So it's right now. It's August 5th. What when this comes out, I'm not even sure. Are you going to be what upcoming shows, conventions? Are you going to be at MagicCon Atlanta? Is that on your radar, or what are you looking at in terms of conventions for the rest of the year?
Yes, I am going to be at MagicCon Atlanta. Team Magic Jank has a meet and greet, and I'm actually working with Jaffer and Carlo, and we are going to be putting together a creator like standard showcase using physical cards playing standard in the Spectacle Play area. So more details on that moving forward. We still have a lot of logistics to figure out, but. It was one of those moments where at Vegas there was a little bit of a standard scuffle between two decks, and we broadcast it on Jaffer's channel, and I did commentary like it was an event, and we had so much fun. So we're gonna try to expand on that and do more just Spectacle Play for fun paper. Stuff. So that'll be happening. I'll be in Atlanta. Come say hi. All the generic commander guys are going to be there too. So there's a non-zero chance I'll be hanging out with those guys in addition to the Team Magic Jank and hopefully yourself. Yes. Yeah.
Probably. It's. I'm not going to say there's a 0% chance. It's very low.
Okay. All right.
I need a few things to break my way. So there's.
I get. Okay.
Yeah, it's we'll see. We're trying to pull some levers, but I'm going to say no, but I'm not going to say it's complete zero, no chance at all. But
I gotcha. And I understand. I do genuinely look forward to seeing you at events though. So whenever the next one is, where we get to jam out again, I'm looking forward to that. There's definitely a crew of folks that have become kind of the. I don't know. There's definitely a group of like convention friends, and I love seeing them. It's a blast. And so so I will be at Atlanta. If you're going to be there, come say hi. I will have tokens and stickers to hand out. Also, when I don't have there are a couple of the Spectacle Play events and the meet and greets, but when those aren't active, my objective is to play games with folks and just meet as many people as humanly possible. So, yes. I'll be there. So if you're listening to this and you're going to be in Atlanta and you see me, come say hi. That's why I'm there to see you. That's why I'm in the building. So yeah.
Yes. Go say hi. If you see Peggy Banks walking around as well, I know you normally bring that with you as well.
I do one day a week. I will be Piggy Banks. It might be Saturday. Depends on how things shake out. It's either Saturday or Sunday. I will be done up in the Piggy Banks get up. Yeah, which is fun. Yeah.
Awesome. So I will make sure to link all of your stuff below. I got your Twitch, YouTube channel, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you made it this far and you kind of like what I'm doing here, feel free to subscribe. Trying to do that a little more. Tell people to if you like this, follow along. It's the
and your backlog of interviews is also pretty darn excellent. So if you want to hear more from other content creators, definitely drop that follow and subscription.
If you're interested, there's hours of just background music to kind of throw on. I'm trying to hit the goal I think the goal is 200 subscribers by the end of the year. And you know what? I think if I can kind of get things going, I think that might be possible. So let's promote ourselves too. That's what we got to do. So again, Ham, thank you so much for coming on, and look forward to seeing you either in your stream or whenever I get to see you in person.
Rock, Andrew. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me. This has been fun.
No problem. You have a good night, everybody.
Yep.